So rules are a pretty helpful way to manage your inbox, especially for any kind of regularly occurring emails that you get in, just to save yourself a little bit of time and effort. Let's talk about a couple of other things that are similar to rules. So let's come back over into our web app. And in certain industries, you have certain legal requirements where you're required to retain certain types of communications for a certain period of time, or in some cases, you may be required to delete certain communications after a certain period of time.
Right.
That's what policies do. So let's take our Groupon Goods email again, which is kind of a silly situation, but let's say that we were required to keep this for a year. If I right-click on this message, notice the very last entry says Assign Policy. And Assign Policy shows me two different types of policies. There are archive policies and there are retention policies. Archive policies say that after a certain period of time, the email will be moved to the archive, no matter where it is. And by default, it uses the parent folder policy. So we have a policy in place for our parent folder, which in this case is the inbox. Retention policies say that we will automatically delete that email after a certain period of time. So we have a 1 week, 1 month, 6 month, 1 year, 5 year, and never delete retention policy.
So Chip, when would you use these sorts of policies?
Well, good question. Generally, your organization is going to give you instructions on that. So if they require you to use a certain policy in a certain situation, then they'll tell you what to do. Just know that they're here. And you can also customize these. If I come back into my mail settings and mail, notice over on the left-hand side under mail and automatic processing, we have retention policies. And here's the list of those policies we just saw. So we have the 1 month, 1 week, 1 year, delete, and so forth. The ones that say delete for their retention action, those are the retention policies. And the ones that say archive, those are the archive policies.
Fair enough.
And your IT staff or your company administrators may have other policies predefined in there as well. And something that's a little bit outside the scope of this course, but I just want to mention that if you notice that certain emails are getting processed a certain way, and it's not being done by your rules or your policies, there is one other place where automatic processing comes into play, and that's where your company administrators can set other types of mail flow settings in the company administration panel. So for company administrators, if you go into the admin panel and go into admin for Exchange, which again, Exchange is handling all the email for us. If I come over to protection on the left-hand side, I've got a few different things across the top here that can apply to how my messages are processed. So the malware filter determines how my messages are processed for malware, viruses, and spyware, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So if the company administrators wanted to make a change here, they could come in and click the pencil. And you can see under settings, I've got different choices about how things are happened. If malware is detected, do I delete the whole message? Do I just delete the attachments and use a default alert? Do I create a custom alert? Do I send notifications? Do I send administrator notifications? And so on and so forth. Also under the connection filter, I can choose, maybe there's certain domains that are a problem for us. This is usually be used when you're getting a lot of spam from a certain domain, but maybe you have a competitor who's sending a lot of email messages to your staff, just harassing them or something. You could come in here and you could choose to block the IP address of that competitor.
Wow.
So that's an option. Something else you can do, of course, is you have your spam filter, and we can change the spam filter settings in here as well and choose how that is being handled. Right now, spam is being moved to the junk email folder if it's normal spam, and if it's high confidence spam, also being moved to the junk folder. Some companies get a little more aggressive and they might choose to take their high confidence spam and just go ahead and delete that.
Gotcha.
But we'll cancel out of here for now. And then you can see there's other settings as well for outbound spam, quarantine, the action center. All of this is outside the scope of this course, but I wanted to make you aware in case you see that your messages are being handled a certain way, it may have something to do with the automatic mail flow protections that are built in here in the admin center.
Gotcha. So something might be going on behind the scenes you weren't necessarily aware of.
Right, but rules and policies are something you can create for yourself to really help to get a handle on your inbox and make your day a little bit easier.
All right.